Hello, this is Watch All About with another watch review, and in this review we're looking at another offering from Brathwait. I've reviewed a number of Brathwait watches before, and pretty much all of them apart from one now after this one. This is the Swiss Classic, and I've always found them to be affordable, well priced, but also very well made for the price. So let's see if this model is exactly the same. So the price is $159. Which currently equates to around £125. So first of all, it's not a massive amount of money, so that's a good start. So let's see if it is a lot of watch for that amount. So we have two versions here. So we have what's called the gunmetal on the left here, as you can see. It's pretty much all black, and it also has a sort of a matte finish to it. Definitely more of a casual style, this one. And then this one is just called the gold. So as you can see, we have a gold plated case, and then that comes with a very nice steel coloured mesh bracelet, which is definitely more of a it's more of a smart casual. You can still wear it for casual, of course, but it's definitely much smarter wear. Okay, so these are the two key versions that I have here. Let's talk about some of the specs. So size-wise, on my 7¼ inch wrist, just pop this on. So we have a 38mm diameter case, pretty thin height of 6.5mm. And then a lug-to-lug length of 46mm. So it is a really nice watch to wear, very comfortable on the wrist, especially being that it has a light weight of 88 grams as well. So let me just show you this one on the wrist. So there we go, there's the gunmetal version. So I have a 7¼ inch wrist. I think the dimensions of it are pretty much spot on for me, actually. Usually 38mm seem a little bit small for me, but I think I'm not entirely sure what it is about this watch that makes it fit a little bit better. I think it works really well on the wrist. We have a 20mm lug width, so the mesh bracelet is 20mm for the entire width of the strap, as you can see there. So that is quite a nice size in comparison. It's a good ratio to the case, so that works well as well. Water resistance, we've got just 100 meters, so I probably wouldn't suggest taking it dive-in or anything like that, but you do know you have a little bit of protection there just in case you do get it wet, so that's good. Movement wise, we've got a Swiss Ronda in there. Now Brathwait don't actually specify which Ronda they've got in there, and I have asked but not received any more information. So if I was to hazard a guess, I'd probably say something like the 515, which is a very dependable solid quartz movement. I mean, you can't really go wrong with a Swiss made quartz. It's going to be accurate, it's going to be reliable, so that's good. But having a Swiss-made movement in a watch for $160, you can't knock that at all. So that's quite a pleasant surprise. You have a 1-year warranty with the watch as well. So if anything does happen within a year, you should be covered. So both watches are clearly vintage inspired. That's thanks to the very nice gold accents. I like to think. You don't see this kind of styling very often. I think it's quite a unique look. They've done a really good job in designing it as well. Obviously, the mesh strap also has a say on the vintage kind of feel to it, but also just the generic quality of it. I do really like mesh straps when they're made to a high standard, and we'll have a look at this in closer detail when we get to the strap. So it's one of the key features of the watch, I like to think. Okay, so let's discuss the dial first of all. So the difference between this gold and the gunmetal version is that this gold version has a very nice sunburst effect to it. You can see the engraved, sort of like the markings of the dial there, and you can see that it follows the light depending on the angle, so that's really nice. But then on the gunmetal version we don't have that. We have just a standard matte black base to it. So a little bit more plain on the gunmetal front. I personally much prefer the dial of the gold, but everything else is exactly the same. So we have literally the only printing is the logo in the top half, so very minimal. And then we have our gold hour markers. They're all done reasonably deeply as well, to a surprisingly good quality. As you can see there, you can see the depth of them, so that signifies good quality. And then our hands as well, just very straightforward batons with a point, and they're filled with loom. And then the second hand is a very straight point as well. So really, you know, in terms of design on the dial, you can't really go much more simple. But I think they've done it in a really nice and tasteful way. So they've done a really good job of doing a really minimalist but vintage inspired simple design. So just having a look at the gunmetal version, just give it a wipe just to confirm. So again, here we are. You notice the black version has a lot more reflections because of the black base rather than the sunburst base. So we have the logo, our gold hands, and our gold applied hour markers as well. Okay, moving on to the case then. Very nice shape to the case. You know, quite standard when you think about it, but then the lugs are quite angular. You know, quite like retro, and then we have a very subtle little tiny crown as well, and a screw-in case back as well. We will have a look at the case back in a minute, but first we have a look at the top of the case. So we have a sapphire crystal, which is domed, only domed on the top though, so you do get this distortion at tight angles. If you had double domed, which means you'd have a dome at the bottom dome would counteract that top dome distortion, so it would still be clear at these kind of angles. It's not necessarily a problem, it's just one of those things. As you can see, we do get a flash of blue occasionally, so that is a layer of anti-reflective coating on the underside, but it doesn't seem to be doing a massive amount on the black dial, the gunmetal version. But on the gold version, it is doing a much better job. But that's something that I always find anyway. Lighter coloured dials always show less reflections. I guess because it's a lighter coloured dial, you can't quite see them as pronounced as on a black dial. But there is a layer of anti-reflective coating there. It's just not as good as, you know, as a very expensive watch. But let's keep in mind we're only paying £125 for this watch, so it's good that it has got a measure of anti-reflective coating on it. So the difference in finishing, we have a fully brushed body on the gold and then a polished bezel. The bezel is quite a nice cushion shape actually, rather than just a round, you know, plain old straight circle. We have these tapered out corners in all the four corners. So that's quite a nice little design cue, and then we have these quite prominent edging at the top and on the sides as well. Everything's quite angular, which is quite nice to see. So then on the gunmetal version, as you can see, we have still a polished bezel, but the body is this sort of gunmetal matte kind of finish, which is most definitely a more casual finish to it. More of like a tool watch almost. So looking at our screw and case back, again very simple, just our details etched into the case back there with our logo in the middle, various watch specifics surrounding the outside, and then just showing you the other one. Again, exactly the same, just in gold. So yeah, the case is really well manufactured, just like the dial. Both are, I literally can't find a flaw with them at all. So for the price, you're getting a very well machined, well finished watch. Moving on to the mesh strap then. So the mesh is really finely done. As you can see, no major issues at all. Nice and thick as well, good quality. And this is our adjustable buckle. So the way to adjust it is quite fiddly. I find if you have to basically lift up this flap. So I find I stick my tool in there and then prise it open like that, and that will pop that up. Then you can slide it up and down and then push it back down. But that is something you need to know. Otherwise, I also have tried getting it up from underneath here, and then you end up starting to bend that bar. Obviously, that's the wrong way to do it. So that's the preferred way I've found. So if you do end up getting one, remember that tip. And then the clip on the other side is just a straight up bar. So when it's together, there we go. So very nice low profile buckle, as you can see, with the logo from the top flap in view. Now let's have a look at the strap on here. So more of a traditional mesh, stainless steel kind of finish to it. Very, very nice polished finish to it. All the links are really well put together, and it's really super smooth as well when you're playing around with it. That's the logo. So then if I put this one together, it's a bit awkward when it's not on your wrist. There we go. So that's the steel buckle. We compare it to the two. There we go. Alright, so let's just get the macro lens on briefly, and we'll have a look at both watches in closer detail. Okay, so I'll just give the case a wipe on the gold. Let's have a look at the gold very briefly. So there's the logo. You can immediately see our sunburst finish and our very nice finished deep hour markers as well. Have a look at our hands. The loom is pretty average, nothing exciting to write home about, unfortunately. There we go. So then let's just have a look at the dial on the gunmetal version. Just give it a wipe. Here we go. So because it's so black, it's quite hard to get any sort of decent there we go. So you can see our matte finish to the dial there. And then our hands are exactly the same, and our hour markers are the same as well. So moving on to our case, I'll just give the gold a little bit of a wipe down again. You can see here we have our polished bezel. And here's the top corner of our case, that angular lug. Finishing down the side as well. Spin it over to this side, and we have our dear little crown there. It is quite hard to pull out, but because it's quartz, you're not going to be using it too often, so I don't think that's a major issue. Oh, one thing I did forget to mention is that the straps have quick release pins, which is very, very good, very handy. Moving on to the case back then. Here's our engraving nice and deep for the screw and case back. Okay, so let's just move on to the black gunmetal version. Just have a look at the case there. So you can see there, nice matte finish against the polished bezel, which is a nice differentiation. It splits up the case nicely. And the crown as well, sort of like this matte gunmetal finish as well. And our case back, again we have that deeply engraved into the case back, which is a nice touch. There we go. So moving on to the mesh. Let's go back to the gold. Here's our mesh up close. Pretty much flawless. Moving on to the side. And on the back. So here's the back, and then we have that quick release pin, which is nice and handy, that's for sure. And then just looking at our buckle quickly, there's the top logo, top bar. It's just laser etched on, so it would be nice to have it engraved, but we can't be too picky. And then looking at it on the gunmetal, there's the mesh. Here's the end link, if you will. And then just quickly there's the top bar of the buckle. Okay. So I do honestly think that these watches continue in the footsteps of all the other Brathwaits. I think they're incredibly affordable. First of all, $160 or 125 quid is you know, in itself a great price, but to match that price, the build quality is very, very good. You know, as we've been through it, you can see that we've not really had any issues whatsoever. Everything's well built, well put together. Lovely design as well. And when you're wearing it, when it's on the watch, it just looks really high quality, looks really impressive. So they've done a great job of making a really nice, simple watch at an affordable price. I personally think, apart from the Swiss made automatic, which I love as well, I think this is one of my favourite Brathwaits. So you know, considering the price, it's a really, really good buy. So I would highly recommend it if this watch is on your radar, and if you you know, if you like this kind of vintage smart style, then I think, you know, it's a really, really good option, and for the price, it's very difficult to beat. So this was the Brathwaite Swiss Classic Gold and Gunmetal, and that's what it's all about.